Welcome back to Omoshiroi Recap. Today, I will recap a certain scientific accelerator. The story begins with the arrogant villain named Accelerator. He is a level 5 first rank Esper and the strongest in Academy City. His ability to control all hot momentum vectors and electric flow. However, he is recovering from being seriously injured after participating in the level 6 project and becoming the strongest in the world. Instead, he became disabled and had to rely on tools to be able to walk and talk usually. Then there is a troop named Anti-Skill heading to the hospital. The troop leader Yamakawa explains that thieves have broken into the research facility and stolen the secret weapon to defeat Accelerator. So the Anti-Skill squad confirmed that the thief would come to meet Accelerator in the hospital. Then there are 3 high school students. They broke into the hospital with a high-strength water-cutting weapon. Yoko quickly slashed the Anti-Skill squad using that weapon, thus making the Anti-Skill troops helpless. When they were cornered, came to Accelerator very arrogantly there. However, the last order was there to give him a gift, but the roof started collapsing and hitting them both. Seeing Accelerator's blood dripping onto last order's gift, Yoko quickly took it and immediately ran away with a smoke bomb. It turned out that their goal was to obtain Accelerator's genetic blood to sell to research. Since it was so precious to Last Order, Accelerator immediately went after the criminals. To catch criminals, he must think like criminals to find their whereabouts. So Accelerator confirmed that they were in an underground aqueduct. Without further ado, Accelerator alone met them there. They blew up several pillars, but Accelerator dodged them easily since he was too strong. Even already know the abilities of these criminals. So Accelerator reclaimed the Last Order's gift. After returning to meet the Last Order, it turned out that the gift contained a cake for Accelerator to celebrate his recovery. Then the next day, the Anti-Skill squad chased a woman named Estelle Rosenthal. She was looking for a girl at the hospital, at the same time, trying to escape from the pursuit of the Anti-Skill troop. Then she arrived at Accelerator's room and asked for help by showing a photo that might be Last Order. But Accelerator ignored it and focused on reading the comic at a leisurely pace. In the end, the Anti-Skill troop managed to paralyze her and wanted to take her somewhere. Meanwhile, Accelerator, after seeing the photo, decides to meet Esther out of curiosity about the purpose of her visit. With the sly face of a villain, Accelerator confronted the Anti-Skill army alone. It turned out that the troops were not Anti-Skill but the Da Justice Enforcement troops, who were insane. Since bullet and car attacks don't work on Accelerator, they also use their ultimate weapon, coffins, which can fire super strength pyrokinesis and surpass the limits to beat Accelerator. But Accelerator laughs it off since that attack is still weak for him. So Accelerator stopped the attack and destroyed it completely. The casket was opened when the robot was defeated, and a young girl's corpse was inside. It turned out that a high school girl named Hidekawa Asami had committed suicide by jumping into a river, but she was saved and used as a tool to move the robot by Da. Esther also confirmed that Da used necromancy power. After that, Accelerator returned to his room and met Esther, who begged for help. Because there was a possibility that Last Order was in danger, Accelerator was willing to help her kill anyone who became their enemy. Then they immediately headed somewhere. In the middle of the journey, Esther remembered her past when she was imprisoned in a warehouse by Hishigata Mikihiko. When they arrived at the warehouse, Accelerator immediately broke down the wall to enter there. They saw corpses from the previous Da members, even a coffin controlled by Mikihiko. Mikihiko thanked Esther for teaching him about manipulating the undead with necromancy, and explained that Esther is as evil as herself, because Esther also had time to control corpses at will. But for now, Esther had already realized her mistake. Meanwhile, Accelerator was irritated at Mikihiko's words and immediately launched an attack with his strength. But Mikihiko was able to block the attack and decided to run away from there. After that, they returned to the hospital. Esther met up with Last Order and introduced herself as a classmate of Accelerator. This is so that Last Order does not get involved with their problems. Then came a doctor, who showed a spiritual talisman found in Hidekawa Asami's corpse. Then Esther uses her power to revive Asami's soul to get information from her. So a holographic brain appears there. When Accelerator touched it, he saw Asami's memories and how Da killed Asami. After that came two Da intruders who intended to exterminate Asami's corpse. Fortunately, Accelerator already knew about it and immediately fought them. Then, without them knowing it, Asami woke up and started attacking the intruder. They were so scared to see the undead and thought she was a monster. He immediately shoots at her, but Accelerator protects Asami there. It can be seen that Accelerator was annoyed by their actions that did not respect people who had died. Accelerator tortured them until he was mentally hit. But suddenly, the wound on his head opened, and he started to feel dizzy until he fainted. While one of the intruders flees from there, clone Misaka tries to stop him. But the intruder gets help and quickly takes Misaka with him to serve as a hostage. Because Da has caused a lot of chaos, there is a mysterious figure who intends to destroy Da using a powerful elite troop called Scavenger. On the other hand, Esther and Asami are also chasing the intruder, who is a Da member, while the doctor has operated on Accelerator so he can recover. When he woke up, he saw Last Order sleeping beside him. Last Order was happy to see Accelerator regain his senses. Then Accelerator asks Last Order to buy coffee because another Misaka wants to meet him. She explained that one of Misaka's clones had been kidnapped by Da. Hearing that certainly shocked him, and he tried to save her immediately. It was revealed that Da was a former member of the Anti-Skill Squad, or rather the dark side of Anti-Skill. On the other hand, the Scavengers destroy one of Da hideouts, and they intend to kill all the Da members until there's nothing left. Then the branch leader of Da complains because their hideout is always being attacked by anti-skill troops. Mikihiko tells them it was their fault for failing the mission and letting Esther escape. So now their place has been surrounded by anti-skill troops. Feeling that they have been pushed back, the Da troops use tarantula weapons to fight anti-skill. As a result, a massacre there made anti-skill lose a lot of soldiers in an instant. Some of them intend to escape while carrying a black bag containing Misaka. But seeing that, Yamakawa immediately confronted them and could even defeat them alone. Suddenly, a scavenger came to the place where the battle was going on. One of them, named Teramaru, immediately stopped the tarantula, which weighed up to 120 tons. He even controlled the tarantula so easily that it smashed into a wall. When the impact took place, Misaka fell from a great height. Esther and Asami immediately save Misaka. It turns out that Scavenger is also ordered to bring Misaka to the headquarters. Since they were fighting over Misaka, they intended to fight each other there. While on the other hand, Accelerator escaped from the hospital secretly without being noticed by Last Order. He immediately headed to the battlefield to save Misaka. Then a girl named Narua covered her body with a doll to increase her attack power. Then a Da member shot her there, but Narua easily countered her. Meanwhile, her colleague named Itsuki froze him to death, and after that, Narua intended to kill the three of them. When Narua wanted to kill Yamakawa, Asami immediately stopped her with physical strength exceeding her limits. Not only that, Esther manipulated the ground to be used as Asami weapon so that it could destroy several parts of Naruha's doll. However, their leader, Rita, suggests that Naruha turn her hand into a drill machine and target Esther there. Seeing this, Asami forces herself to protect Esther until her armor is destroyed. When they are both nearly killed by the drill, Accelerator came dashingly to save them there. Seeing that Accelerator's face was cruel, like a true villain, Rita tried to get him to join them. But Accelerator refused with a scary look, even without compassion, intending to kill Rita there. Then Scavenger decided to use their combination attack to defeat Accelerator, namely Iron Maiden's attack. However, as Earth's strongest Esper, it certainly couldn't be beaten by a group of children. Knowing that Accelerator was a Esper who ranks first in Academy City, they were terrified. After that, Accelerator slaughtered them one by one and electrocuted them to the point of convulsions. The others were attacked until they were paralyzed, knocked off with just one finger, while their leader fainted until she wet herself from fear at Accelerator's ferocity. After the battle, Esther feels guilty for being useless in battle. Then she checked Misaka's physical condition with Yamakawa and provided first aid so she could regain consciousness. Because Esther felt that she was still very weak, she asked Accelerator to become her teacher, so that Esther could become stronger while wanting to be with him. Even though Esther kept pushing, Accelerator still refused it. Then a coffin appears that suddenly attacks Accelerator. There are even 3 coffins that have unique abilities at once. It turns out that the object is controlled by a woman named Harumi. Her goal is to kidnap Misaka to get the memory of 10,000 deaths. After successfully kidnapping Misaka, the coffin immediately ran away from there. However, Accelerator remains determined to chase after her to protect Misaka. During the chase, Accelerator always receives attacks from these 3 coffins because those coffins have been strengthened. Meanwhile, Mikihiko starts to copy Misaka's memories and identify them all at once. If successful, then Harumi will get the perfect ability. Then Mikihiko started insulting Accelerator because he wanted to save Misaka, even though previously Accelerator had slaughtered 10,000 Misaka clones while participating in the Level 6 project. Then Esther's past is shown with Harumi and Mikihiko. Esther is asked to help Mikihiko's research, where he wants to make Harumi a level 6 Esper. Mikihiko learns the science of necromancy, which can insert souls into machines, but their research did not go smoothly. Meanwhile, Harumi kept forcing Mikihiko to make her a level 6 Esper immediately, and even willing to be the object of experimentation. But Mikihiko refused if Harumi was used as an experimental object. The reason why Harumi insisted was that she didn't have much time due to her serious illness. As a result, Harumi performs a dangerous experiment on herself, in which she leaves a message that she is dead, but her body is still safe, and asks the 2 of them to use her corpse as an experiment. Seeing the death of his sister, Mikihiko was sad and did anything to fulfill Harumi's last wish. Then Harumi's body was connected to a machine, and unexpectedly Harumi could speak normally and was thought to have come back to life. But in reality, it wasn't the real Harumi, but an evil spirit soul talisman belonged to the Esther family. So Esther was forced to use a restraining device. Otherwise, Harumi would kill her. In the end, Esther helped with the research according to Harumi's wish. Then Esther went somewhere and used a spell to strengthen the knife to expel the evil spirit in Harumi's body. Therefore, she also rushed to where Harumi was. Meanwhile, Mikihiko was annoyed because Accelerator always followed his robot. In the end, Accelerator managed to find his hiding place by throwing one robot at the location. And then Accelerator immediately rescued Misaka there. However, it was too late because Mikihiko had finished copying the memories of the 10,000 deaths and installing them into the 2 remaining robots. So his abilities became stronger, even teleporting Accelerator to another place quickly. As a result, Accelerator has quite a hard time fighting it because the robot is always moving around and throwing various objects at Accelerator. So Accelerator turned Sandstorm into fire to destroy the robot's camera vision. After which Accelerator immediately destroyed the 2 robots so they could not be recovered. Meanwhile, Mikihiko had almost finished processing the data to make Harumi a level 6 Esper. Knowing this, Esther sneaked into his place secretly and intended to stab Harumi with the knife. But at the last moment, Mikihiko managed to protect her, even though he became seriously injured after being stabbed. Then Harumi came back to her original self. Esther became doubtful when she saw the actual Harumi figure. Then when she saw Mikihiko seriously injured, she became even angrier and started to get out of control. Esther also tried to save Mikihiko and bring him to a safe place. She explained that there was an evil spirit named Toaru in Harumi's body, but Mikihiko didn't believe it because Harumi's nature was the same as before. But after that, Toaru took over her body's consciousness and leaked her identity, instantly made Mikihiko speechless because a devil had controlled Harumi without realizing it. Toaru also invited Esther to help her fulfill desire to create a golem, and that was the last wish of the head of Esther's family, who is the creator of the science of necromancy. Before he died, he ordered his son to put his soul into the Toaru amulet, so that we can be sure from the start Mikihiko and Harumi were only used as tools. Then Esther tried to give the order to stop doing this, but Toaru ignored the order. Toaru also intends to kill them all there. But Asami can take them away. Even Accelerator has also arrived there. Because Toaru has become a giant monster that has gone out of control in the city, Accelerator must immediately defeat her. Otherwise, Last Order's life will be threatened. Then Accelerator immediately approached the monster, and she reminded again about Accelerator, who had slaughtered more than 10,000 clone Misaka. And that's the reason why Accelerator can become very strong as an S-rank Esper. Hearing that, of course, made Accelerator angry, and he tried to kill her many times. However, she can regenerate endlessly, and Accelerator must find a way to defeat the monster's core. Esther plans to find the core of the monster's body and stab it with Emperor Shun's blade to destroy the monster's soul. Then Mikihiko wants to join them because he doesn't accept Harumi being controlled by a demon. So Mikihiko led them to the place that was the core of the monster's body. Meanwhile, on the other hand, the monster continues to eat the surviving Da troops and turns them into a power intake, so that it can strengthen itself while accelerating itself to evolve, while the anti-skill troops are trying to contain the monster so that the death will not increase again. Then the monster had fully awakened and gained a perfect body and soul, whereas Accelerator had already figured out where the core of her body was and used his power to create a wind stream. So they flew up and reached the core of the monster's body. This time Esther ran quickly to get close to her so Esther could stab her, but Harumi managed to trick with her face and distract Esther. Accelerator immediately scolded her not to be deceived again and strengthened her resolve to end all this chaos. Meanwhile, Mikihiko found a way to stop the monster's movement temporarily. As a result, they were all able to launch an attack together. After being hit by the stab, she turned back into the real Harumi. Harumi said goodbye and disappeared into dust. Meanwhile, Mikihiko also died peacefully because his job was done. However, the monster's power was still there and wanted to blow up the city. Accelerator immediately stepped forward to control it and change its energy path into outer space. So the city was saved, but the Accelerator was seriously injured. After the battle was over, Accelerator recovered from his injuries. Then Accelerator found a briefcase containing a mysterious woman. And that is the end of the video, so see you in the next video.